to you from the Spit Studios in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. This is the Spit Sports Show. Now listen, why didn't I make a video as soon as the Lions won their first ever playoff game in 31 years since 1992 to beat the Los Angeles Rams with Matthew Stafford, our old quarterback, coming back to town, and our new quarterback, Jared Goff, putting on an absolute show and sending the Rams home when everyone picked the Rams, even though they were the 6 seed to our 3 seed, and I picked the Lions to win by 3. And anyways, why didn't I make a video as soon as the game ended telling everybody I told you so and reminding them that I picked the Lions to go to the Super Bowl before the year even started and how I believed in this team even when no one else did? I'll tell you why. Because I wanted to give an objective point of view. Now, listen, you guys might watch this show and see me as just a fan of this one team, because I do a lot of topics about them because I watch every snap. I know the most about them. I feel like I can provide to you guys the most accurate and important and insightful information because I feel like I know the most about the team. But for this one, I really wanted to be objective. I wanted to take a few days. I wanted to let the emotion out. I'm filming this on a Wednesday. The game was obviously played on a Sunday. I wanted to give you just a balanced point of view on what I thought happened on Sunday. Unfortunately, though, for all of the haters and Lions doubters out there, I'm just as fired up about the game now as I was on Sunday. Listen, this was an unbelievable night for me. First of all, the ponds froze in British Columbia. That never happens. I got to play some pond hockey with the boys, and I came back to watch Jared Goff lead the Detroit Lions to their first home playoff win in my lifetime. Now, listen, I am tremendously excited about this game still. I want to get some points about the future matchup against the Bucs next Sunday off. I want to recap the game, but before I do, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for hitting 60 subscribers on this channel. Now, I'm very, very aware that most of you who are subscribed to this channel are probably mainly subscribed to other channels with millions of subscribers, and 60 subs probably seems like, tiny minuscule thing. But for me, as someone who does this purely out of passion, enjoyment, I love doing it. It's really, really cool that I hit a number like that. And for me, we're only going to get going up from here. First video to hit 1,000 views the other week too. Like, it's happening on this channel. So if you want to be a part of it, please hit the subscribe button down below if you enjoy what you're hearing or what you're about to hear. Because boy, I've got a lot to talk about. I'm so excited about it. Please hit the like button as well because it really helps. Leave a comment. I respond to all comments because I'm small enough to the point where I can, and I enjoy, the football talk because that's what I do here, so I might as well do it with some of you guys. So leave a comment down below, but I want to get into this game. But before I do, just to show you guys how unbiased and totally objective I am, I'm going to do a quick wardrobe change. Oh, that's much better. Got this puppy for Christmas, and goodness gracious me, it looks good, doesn't it? The Honolulu blue with the silver and St. Brown on the back, a top 5 receiver, maybe top 3 receiver in the league at this point, but I'm going to get into the actual football of this. Okay, so Rams-Lions, there were 16 possessions total in this game between both teams. So what that means is both teams had very extended, long drives in this game. The NFL average is anywhere between 22 to 24, for both teams. So this game was very, very progressive in terms of long drives. So each possession meant a lot more to each team than it normally would because there were so few of them, if that makes sense. It's going to make sense later. Trust me, I'll get there. So the Lions come out just absolutely humming. Josh Reynolds, I don't know where this guy's been all year. He usually catches like four balls a game, but the thing is he usually does it on 4 targets. I think I read a stat where Goff has a near perfect passer rating when targeting Josh Reynolds this game, and the Lions clearly put it into the game plan. Hey Josh, I know you're going up against your old team too. Let's send some balls your way, and holy crap did he deliver. In that first half, Josh Reynolds looked like the best receiver in the NFL. Coming over the middle, tight contested windows, that slant which Goff put beautifully into his chest in the red zone, which set up that Montgomery touchdown. Everything was just humming, and Josh Reynolds was specifically. Obviously, Amon-Ra was doing his thing, but Gibbs looked unstoppable. Like, this kid is unbelievable. Anyone who said we shouldn't have picked this guy in the middle of the first round, I know it might be too high for a running back, but to my eye right now, he looks better than Bijan Robinson does. And I know that might be a controversial take, but like, if you put the pedigree aside and just watch the games, I don't see how you disagree. Jameer is just as fast as Bijan is. And like the strength that he has to spin off of tackles and not go down at first contact. And David Montgomery, I didn't know he was that shifty. I'm going to get into that in a little bit because that move that he pulled off in the fourth quarter, it almost sealed the game. Holy moly. We have a heck of a running back duo, but let's get back to the game. So Lions score on their first 3 possessions, but the Rams also scored on each of their first 3 possessions. However, we were able to hold them to a field goal on one of them. And listen, I love how this Lions defense has been playing for the last like 7 weeks. They play so hard. The pass rush has been getting there, especially with McNeil coming back. Hopefully we get Houston back for this next week against the Bucs because it'd be a nice little touch. But pass rush played really well, but this secondary is still, it's got some issues. Like when Puka Nacua, their clear number 1 receiver on Sunday, because Cooper Kupp was a flat out no-show. I don't know what's happened to Cooper Kupp. He used to be the undisputed best receiver in football. Like when you lead the league in receptions, yards, and touchdowns in the same season and win Super Bowl MVP, you're the best receiver in the league. 2 years removed from that, and I don't know if he was the second best receiver out there on Sunday for the Rams. I thought it was Puka, obviously number 1, and then Higbee. But go back to the secondary, you know that Puka is going to be the main focus of their offense. So when he just runs a straight up go route, no fakes whatsoever, and just goes by everybody for a 50 plus yard touchdown, like that's an issue. Our secondary still has a still struggles communicating and passing things off. And that's a big problem, especially when we probably go against the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself. End of the first half. All right, so it's 21-17 Lions. We have scored touchdowns on our first 3 possessions. Like I said, the Rams have almost matched us, except for the fact that we got to stop in the red zone, 21-17. 1 minute left in the half. We are at the 40-yard line, and it's 4th and 5. Everyone knows that Dan Campbell, it's in all likelihood, with the way his offense is going to play, he's probably going to go for it, but he doesn't. He plays the smart game. He uses that against the Rams, their previous knowledge of him, and they jump off sides, except apparently, according to the refs, they didn't. They call a false start, even though the guy clearly jumped into the neutral zone before Decker moved. Now listen, would this call have mattered in the end? Absolutely it would have. The way our offense was humming, like at the very least, it cost us 3 points, right? Because we were at the 40-yard line at this point. That gives us 5 yards, gets us to the 40. There's no way you can tell me we're not getting another like 6-ish yards to make a 50-yarder. Badgley made a 54-yarder later. It cost us 3 at least. And the way our offense was playing, like we literally played flawless football in the first half. I wouldn't have bet against us getting 7 points in that case. Minute left on the 40-yard line. Oh, yeah. That is Jared Goff territory. And the Rams hadn't yet made their halftime adjustments to put pressure on Goff. He was sitting pretty that entire first half. I think they would have scored another touchdown to go up 28-17 before the half. But anyways, I digress. We punt the ball because it's 4th and 10 because of a stupid call. But McVay gets the ball, and I think it was the 4-yard line. And to be honest with you, like everyone came into this game thinking it was a coaching mismatch between Campbell and McVay. And watching the game, I couldn't agree more. It was a coaching mismatch, but it was the other way around. Campbell outcoached McVay mainly because McVay screwed up. I got to be totally honest. It's not like Campbell did anything really genius during the game. He just played by the books. He played by his analytics, and that's all they needed. But McVay at the end of the half, I don't know what he was doing. He attempted 2 passes. Both of them were pretty like short, like 5-yard out to Cooper Kupp. And like it looked like he was trying to pad Matthew Stafford's stats at the end of the first half. It really did. Because like, what's the point in throwing the ball there if you're not at least going to go for a field goal? Like, it didn't make any sense to me. And that was the first of just a couple comical errors made by him, to be totally honest with you. So I'm obviously going into the second half thinking this game is going to be a shootout because both teams had scored on every possession they had, except for the Lions, who got screwed, and the Rams, who had, I guess, a minute to get into field goal range. They didn't even try it. So Rams get the ball first, and the Lions get a stop. The Lions get a stop. So at this point, I'm like, okay, we probably won this game, because the way the game was going, it looked like it was going to be back and forth, back and forth. Whoever was going to get the first stop was going to win the game. Lions got that stop. And what do they do with the ball? They get it and they go kick a field goal. They kicked a field goal with 8:44 left to go. And by the way, Badgley, looking back at that, that was a huge kick, buddy. I know you had a terrible track record from 50 plus, but goodness gracious, you came up clutch on that one. 54-yarder, and there was never a doubt about it. When I saw that kick go up, I knew it was good. Everyone in my house knew it was good. It was a beautiful kick. Good for him. Field goal with 8:44 left in the third, and those were the last points the Lions scored for the rest of the game. Now, why is that? Well, to put it quite simply, Jared Goff, when he's not pressured, is a top 2 quarterback in the world. I have seen Jared Goff, when he's not pressured, outduel Patrick Mahomes in a game, 54-51. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. However, he's not the most mobile guy, and when he is pressured and he can't do his whole throwing motion, when he can't drop back, go forward, all of that stuff, he's just not good. Like, he's just not very good when he's pressured. Fortunately for us, we have the best offensive line in the world, so he's not pressured all that often. He was 21 of 21 on Sunday when not pressured. 1 of 6 when pressured. And in the second half, the Rams were able to get pressure on him. In the first half, they were able to run a lot of stunts. They were able to, well, they weren't able to. They tried to run a lot of stunts and they weren't working. They were trying to get Aaron Donald isolated one-on-one. But the Lions were ready for that, because that's usually what they run against the best offensive lines when they play against a Philly or Dallas or something like that. They run a lot of stunts, so the Lions were ready for it. What they did in the second half, the Rams did, was pretty much sent 4, and whoever was double teaming Aaron Donald, the other guy would just take a one-on-one matchup. They simplified it. They came into the game with a very complicated pass rush strategy, but they simplified it in the second half. And sometimes simple is better. And it definitely was in the second half. 6 of the 7 pressures on Goff came in the second half, and those stalled a lot of drives. But Rams, they didn't dominate the second half, but they definitely controlled it. And I know the Lions won the game, and that's weird to say, but like throughout the entire second half, the Rams played better football than they did. They couldn't get the offense going, and the Rams went on 2 60-plus yard drives on the Lions in the second half. However, like I said, there weren't many possessions in this game, and both of those 60-plus yard drives only resulted in field goals. So the red zone defense for Detroit was absolutely humongous, and a lot to do with that is the Lions' run defense was fantastic the entire game. I was terrified coming into this game of Kyren Williams, because he can see holes before they even open up, and that's usually the type of running backs that we struggle against. But we've been phenomenal against the run all year, and this game was no different, and it made their offense one-dimensional. And that was huge in the red zone, because they knew Stafford would have to fit it into tight windows when the field is so condensed, and that's when the coverage can start becoming a little tighter. And it's harder to throw the ball in the red zone. When you can run it, it gives you such a big cushion, but they couldn't. So the red zone offense was really numbed down, and they had to settle for 3 field goals in the game. Lions' run defense has been fantastic all year, but in this game in particular, it came up so clutch. Besides a couple screens and a run here or there, they were phenomenal. So the game is 24-23 Lions, and the Rams get the ball back with 6 minutes at their own 10 after Goff overthrows Reynolds by a little bit. He was pressured, and if he hit him in the chest, it was probably a first down, but I digress. Those happen all the time. Let's not worry about it. Rams get the ball back. 6 minutes left on their own 10-yard line, and they start carving up the Lions, which, again, everybody and their mother knows that the issue with our team is our secondary. But good thing is, that's kind of the issue with most teams in the NFL nowadays. It's so hard to cover receivers one-on-one in man coverage that secondary is usually your issue. There's only like 6 elite corners in the NFL, whereas there's like 35 elite wide receivers. Just the ratio of it is so tough for your secondary to be elite. So if we're going to have a weak point of the team, I'd kind of prefer it to be that, but I digress. They start carving us up. everything is working for Stafford until they get to the 40-yard line. Aiden Hutchinson gets pressure on Stafford. The right tackle has no choice but to hold, and it puts them in 3rd and 11 from their own 40. Now, on that play with Puka, did he get held a little bit before he caught the ball? Absolutely. Did Anzalone hit him after the ball was incomplete? Absolutely. But here's 2 things for that. First of all, that kind of holding happens on literally every throw in NFL history, completion or incompletion. That little tug, like, I'm sorry, but it's like, it's just one of those unwritten rules. You don't throw penalties on that. He barely grabbed the back of his jersey. Did it affect his ability to catch the ball? I don't know. Maybe a little, but like, he still probably should have caught it. Like, he high pointed the ball, hit him right in the face, and it went through his hands. Now, with Anzalone, he did hit him, but there was no doubt that he let up. And that's all you can ask for from a defender. Like, that's the rule. If you let up, that's not a call because your momentum is already towards that. So he let up. He didn't hit him as hard as he definitely could have. No call. And if you want to say that was a penalty, I'm not going to disagree with you. But what I will say is we're even, because the one false start penalty that we got when you guys were clearly offside, you guys being the Rams, I'm sorry, I'm still talking like I'm a homer here because, well, look at my jersey, I am. Anyways, we're even for that. That took probably 7 points off the board for us. That took maybe 3 to 7 points off the board for you guys, all right? So whatever. Wash. Then, thanks to the Detroit crowd burning 2 of McVay's timeouts in the second half during the game. And that's another thing I want to talk about with McVay. Dude, it is way more costly in a playoff game for you to burn 2 second half timeouts than take 5 yards on the delay game, especially with the way they were moving the ball. Like 3rd and 16 completions, 3rd and 11 completions. Like they were just doing that stuff with their eyes closed. So taking an extra 5 yards on a 3rd and 4 to make it a 3rd and 9 is way, way better than burning a second half timeout, which came back to burn him later. I'll tell you that right now. And McVay, here's the thing about McVay. Very smart offensive guy. He has this memory of, he can remember any play ever run in NFL history or something or other. I've seen a video of it. Like he's recalling plays from like 2017 on the Commanders and stuff like that. Very impressive stuff. But when it comes to actual game logistics and management, he's had some of these gaffes before. And burning 2 second half timeouts in a close playoff game that's very nip and tuck, it's just not smart. It's just bad coaching and putting your team in a worse position, which it did later. So obviously, with McVay burning those 2 timeouts, Rams punt the ball. All the Lions need is a solid 4-minute drill to get it done, and do they ever. Run the ball to Montgomery, throw the ball to Montgomery, and holy, dude, I didn't know you could stop like that. Like, I don't know if him and Jahmyr Gibbs have been in the lab, like, taking stuff from each other, because Jahmyr's improvement as an inside runner and Montgomery's improvement with his agility is just ridiculous. Like, I swear in week 1, he wouldn't have made that play where he just stopped on a dime and ran for that first and stayed in bounds. It was huge. And then, obviously, Goff made a perfect throw, well protected to maybe the best receiver in the NFL right now, probably the best receiver left in the playoffs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and that was the game. And what really excited me about the game is it was not perfect. It wasn't perfect at all. I think our offense can play way better than that, and we still beat the second best NFC team left in the playoffs besides us. I think it went 49ers, Lions, Rams in terms of NFC power rankings. And Rams are gone. And like, if you want to go 4-5, it was probably Cowboys, Eagles, and both of them are gone too. Like, our path to the Super Bowl right now is really simple. Let's beat the 49ers. I'm going to touch on the Bucs game in a little bit, but I think we match up really, really well. The weekend couldn't have gone better for Detroit because obviously San Fran couldn't lose. They were on a bye. Cowboys, we wanted to play them for revenge, but realistically, they're better than the Bucs are. Eagles probably are better than the Bucs are, but they just collapsed, and we appreciate that. Like, our path to the Super Bowl is pretty open right now, and I know we have work to do, but it's hard for me not to look forward and be like, yes, we've got a chance at this. Like, we really do. I placed a bet at the start of the season, Lions to win the Super Bowl. I think it was plus 10,000. That bet, it might hit. It might hit, and that would be a nice little chunk of change. Plus the emotional satisfaction of the team that I've been rooting for that have just been so terrible for so long finally lived. Listen, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. I want to let's Congrats to the Lions. Congrats to Jared Goff for slaying that demon. Congrats to Amon-Ra. Congrats to Aiden Hutchinson for playing a phenomenal game. Congrats to Josh Reynolds. Congrats to Dan Campbell. Congrats to Brad Holmes. Congrats to Taylor Decker, who's been here forever. Just, I am so proud and happy for this team because I've seen it every step of the way. And it really is a different kind of satisfaction when you see a team start so low and then rise so high with you there every step of the way. It's really special. But obviously, we've got more work to do. Bucks next week. Now, this could be a classic letdown game. Obviously, this was maybe the most emotional wild card game we could have possibly had with Goff coming back to LA and Stafford returning to Detroit for a playoff game. But with what this team has been through, starting off 1-8 last year and going, what were they, 2-16 the year before? They don't underestimate any team. Like the only bad team that we have lost to this year, you could argue the Bears. I would argue the Bears and maybe the Seahawks. But early, we lost to them in week 2 when the Seahawks were humming. I think they started off 3-0. So that wasn't a bad team that we lost to. It just got beat. It happens. But here's the thing. When it comes to Tampa Bay, we're going to be able to make them one-dimensional just like we made the Rams. Like the Rams have a really good rushing offense. The Bucks have the single worst rushing offense in the NFL. Rashad White's good, but their offensive line is bad at run blocking, and I think we're going to be able to expose that. And if you make Baker Mayfield one-dimensional, I like our chances. I think our offense is just straight up better than theirs. I think our team is just straight up better than theirs. We're playing at home. Everything to me matches up for Detroit in this game. And it's super exciting. It's super duper exciting. The only thing that terrifies me is the fact that we seem to let number one receivers get 150 plus yards every single game, and they have Mike Evans on their team. However, he's a deep threat kind of guy. And our safeties are probably the strength of our secondary if we have one, with CJ coming back and Kirby Joseph playing some of his best football right now. We got a chance. We've got a really good chance to make it to an NFC title game. And from there, we're probably going to be playing against the 49ers because I think they're going to smoke the Packers by 10 plus points. So very excited about the future of the Lions. Very excited about our win. Yeah, it's just unbelievable. But I can't talk about them forever. I do want to talk about Chiefs Bills for a second. But the thing is, I'm only really going to talk about it for a second because my opinion on this is really simple. I don't see any way the Bills win this game. Like, seriously, I was looking down the roster. I was grinding the all 22. I was watching film, or at least as much as I could, coach's tape on DAZN. And Mahomes, he's never played a road playoff game, and that's true, but literally all of his stats are better on the road than they are at home. His touchdown interception ratio, his yards, his completion percentage, all of it is better on the road. And if you look at the Bills' strengths, obviously their quarterback, the Chiefs have a better one. Their tight ends have been playing well. The Chiefs have the best tight end ever and the best playoff receiver since Jerry Rice, not just tight end, receiver, period. The Bills have Stephon Diggs as their number one. Rashee Rice is playing just as well as Diggs is right now. Their defense, like the Bills' defense, has been playing really well. The Chiefs have maybe the best defense left in the playoffs besides the Ravens. Like, they match up perfectly. And they also have the mental advantage of, we have your number. Chiefs have never lost to the Bills in the playoffs, and the pressure that the Bills are going to build on themselves to win this game, this is the biggest game the Bills have probably ever played. Whereas this is the 6th most important game the Chiefs have played in the last 2 years. There's levels to this. And I think the Chiefs win pretty convincingly in that game. Texans versus Ravens. I think the Ravens get the better of them. Stroud maybe had the best rookie quarterback season ever, but they probably get the best of them. San Francisco, Green Bay, like I said, I think San Fran just smokes Green Bay. I think that Green Bay defense is, like, at this point, overrated because I think it was way more to do with Dak being a deer in the headlights under that Dallas pressure. As soon as his team went down 7-0, he turned into a different quarterback. And that didn't really have much to do with Green Bay. So that's what I think is going to happen in these playoffs. Please let me know. What do you think? Who do you think is going to the Super Bowl now? 8 teams left. Plant your flag. Who do you guys think is Who do you guys think is going to the Super Bowl? Who do you guys think is going to the AFC, NFC representative? Who do you think is going to win between Lions, Bucks, Ravens, Texans? All of that, please let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace out.